Scarface 1983 is remembered for its unforgettable scenes and characters, but behind the cameras, the actors who brought them to life lived tragic and untold stories. Robert Loia, Paul Shaar, and Anel Salazar, who forever marked our screens, are all gone now, lost to Alzheimer's, AIDS, and addiction. What was really hiding behind the glitz and glamour? Let's dive deep into their legacies and the dark truths that followed. Stick around. Robert Loia played Frank Lopez in Scarface, 1983, a powerful drug kingpin and rival to Tony Montana. At the time, Loia was 53 years old. His portrayal of Lopez left a lasting impact on audiences, especially in the tense showdowns with Al Pacino's character. His role helped give weight to the film, which is now considered a Hollywood classic. Born on January 3, 1930 in Staten Island, New York, Loia's career spanned more than 6 decades. He appeared in a wide range of famous films and television shows, from An Officer and a Gentleman and Jagged Edge to Big and Independence Day. Loia was praised for the diversity of his roles, equally at home playing both villains and heroes. Yet behind the spotlight, his personal life was far from smooth. His first marriage to Della Margolus Sloan lasted nearly 30 years, from 1954 to 1981, but ended in heartbreak. As Loia's career rose, so did the pressures of fame, frequent trips, and work commitments, which caused distance between the couple. Though they had 3 children together, the cracks in their relationship became too deep to repair. After their divorce, Loia entered a lonely and uncertain chapter of his life. It was during this time that he met Audrey O'Brien, a woman who helped him through his midlife crisis and lifted his spirits. Audrey became not only his emotional anchor, but also his devoted companion, helping him regain confidence after years of ups and downs in his career. They married in 1982, just a year after his divorce, and stayed together for over 3 decades until the end of Loia's life. Loia often spoke of Audrey with deep gratitude in interviews, describing their bond as his peaceful harbor. In his later years, Loia faced immense hardship when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 2010. The disease gradually stole his memory, clarity, and the pride he had built throughout his career. Once a strong and decisive man, Loia became increasingly withdrawn, stepping away from the spotlight as his health declined. Throughout it all, Audrey remained by his side, caring for him with unwavering dedication. When the lights of fame had long faded, Robert Loia passed away on December 4, 2015 at his home in Brentwood, Los Angeles, from complications related to Alzheimer's disease. He was 85 years old. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated to be around $10 million, the result of over 60 years dedicated to his craft. Paul Shaar played Alejandro Sosa, the cold, calculating Colombian drug lord. At 47, he portrayed a character who oozed menace and control, becoming one of the film's most unforgettable villains. Sosa's cold, calculating demeanor stood in stark contrast to the fiery Tony Montana, creating one of the most intense rivalries in cinematic history. Shaar's performance was pivotal, helping elevate Scarface into the iconic film it is today. Born on February 12, 1936 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Paul Shaar's love for acting started early. He pursued his passion for theater, which led him to become a founding member of the American Conservatory Theater, ACT, where he starred in over 40 classic roles. His foundation in theater allowed him to develop a rich, versatile acting style, which translated perfectly to both the stage and film. Before Scarface, Shaar had already made a name for himself in the theater and television. His work at ACT earned him recognition as a respected figure in the acting community. Known for his versatility, Shaar was just as comfortable playing a hero as he was portraying a villain. In Scarface, his role as Alejandro Sosa, a drug lord with a cold and ruthless personality, was a standout performance that showcased his talent for playing morally complex characters. Beyond Scarface, Shaar's career included appearances in numerous television shows and films, but it was this role that cemented his place in Hollywood history. Shaar's personal life was marked by love and isolation. He had a significant relationship with fellow actor Jeremy Brett, which lasted from 1973 to 1978. Although their romantic relationship ended, the two remained close friends, always supporting each other. Despite his professional success, Shaar struggled with loneliness, particularly as a member of the LGBT community during a time when such identities were not widely accepted. He never married or had children, dedicating his life to his art, but that decision led to a feeling of isolation, despite the fame he enjoyed in his later years. In the early 1980s, Shaar reached the height of his career, but life dealt him a cruel hand. In 1983, he was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, which had a profound impact on both his physical health and emotional well-being. Despite this diagnosis, he continued to work, landing notable roles in both television and film. However, as the disease progressed, it took its toll. Shaar's health began to deteriorate, and his once vibrant presence on stage and screen faded. He passed away on October 11, 1989, at the age of 53, leaving behind a legacy of incredible performances and an enduring contribution to both theater and film. When Paul Shaar passed away, his ashes were entrusted to his close friend Thomas Y. as a tribute to their enduring friendship. At the time of his death, Shaar's net worth was estimated at around $2 million, a reflection of a career spent in the spotlight, but one also marked by personal struggles. Despite the challenges he faced, Shaar's legacy lives on through his powerful performances, particularly in Scarface, where his portrayal of Alejandro Sosa remains one of the most memorable in film history. Paul Shaar's life was marked by triumph and struggle, but his work as an actor continues to inspire. His dedication to his craft, his unwavering commitment to his art, and his ability to portray such complex characters remind us of the impact an actor can have, both on and off the screen. Though his life was cut short, Shaar's contributions to theater and film will always be remembered. Harris Yulan played Mel Bernstein, a corrupt cop who tries to extort Tony Montana. At 46, Yulan brought an unsettling presence to the screen, portraying a morally compromised character involved in the dark and dangerous underworld of the film. His role highlighted the intense conflict between Tony Montana and the corrupt system that surrounded him, leaving a lasting impression on movie audiences. Yulan's portrayal of Bernstein helped to define the gritty, treacherous world depicted, becoming an unforgettable part of the film's legacy. Born on November 5, 1937 in Los Angeles, Yulan's career spanned over several decades and saw him in more than 100 roles across stage, television, and film. He became a familiar face to audiences thanks to his ability to adapt to diverse roles. He appeared in iconic films such as Ghostbusters 2, Clear and Present Danger, Training Day, and in the hit series Ozark. His performances captivated viewers, showcasing his range and his ability to bring complexity to the characters he played. Beyond his career, Yulan's personal life was full of ups and downs. He had a well-known relationship with actress Faye Dunaway, but it ended in turmoil after just 1 year together. In 1975, he married actress Gwen Wells, and they were together for nearly 2 decades until her tragic passing from cancer in 1993. Her death left Yulan with profound grief and a deep emotional void that would prove difficult to fill. Years later, he found companionship and understanding with actress Kristen Elman, and they married in 2005. However, his relationship with his stepdaughter Claire Lucido was complicated, and her death in 2021 deeply affected him, further contributing to his quiet, withdrawn nature. As Yulan grew older, he faced periods of depression and isolation, particularly as his career never quite reached the heights he had once hoped for. Despite his steady work and admirable career, he was haunted by a sense of unfulfilled potential. Yulan passed away on June 10, 2025, at the age of 87 in New York City from cardiac arrest. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $4 million, the result of his years of dedication to his craft. However, the legacy he left behind, marked by the characters he brought to life, far exceeded any material value. Angel Salazar played Chi-Chi, a loyal friend to Tony Montana who brought a touch of humor to the film's dark world. At 27, Salazar's portrayal of Chi-Chi stood out, especially in the harrowing chainsaw scene and the bloody final battle at Tony's mansion. His role made him a familiar face to fans, cementing his place in cinematic history. Despite his memorable performance, Salazar's life mirrored the chaotic nature of his character, filled with both triumphs and struggles. Born on March 2, 1956 in Cuba, Salazar's journey to stardom began in a way that many could never imagine. As a teenager, he escaped Cuba by swimming to the Guantanamo Bay Naval Base, starting his new life in New York with nothing. He began his career in entertainment through amateur comedy shows, where his catchphrase, "Check it out," gained recognition. His unique style and charisma gradually helped him carve out a space for himself in the entertainment industry. After his role in Scarface, Salazar appeared in various projects, including Punchline, 1988, Carlito's Way, 1993, HBO comedy specials, and the popular series Last Comic Standing. Despite his talent and stage presence, Salazar never truly escaped the shadow of Chi-Chi or reached the level of stardom he had once dreamed of. His career, while steady, never quite soared to the heights he hoped for. Behind the stage lights, Salazar faced personal battles that were just as dark as the characters he portrayed. He became trapped in addiction, particularly to cocaine, which wrecked both his career and his personal life. Failed relationships, mounting debts, and financial instability prevented him from achieving the steady life he desired. Nevertheless, he continued performing stand-up comedy until the end of his life, driven by his enduring love for the craft. His final performance at the Laugh Factory in Reno, Nevada, in July 2024, just a month before his death, was a testament to his dedication to comedy despite the hardships he faced. Angel Salazar passed away on August 11, 2024, at the age of 68 at a friend's home in Brooklyn. His death was ruled as acute drug intoxication from a combination of cocaine, cyclobenzaprine, and diphenhydramine, alongside an underlying enlarged heart condition. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $1 million, much of which had been depleted by years of financial struggles. Miriam Coen played Mama Montana, the loving mother tormented by the criminal path her son Tony Montana chose. At 47, Coen brought a quiet strength to her role, leaving a lasting impression with every appearance. Her portrayal embodied both compassion and the moral conscience that Tony could no longer hold on to. Mama Montana's character stood as a stark contrast to the chaos of Tony's world, and Coen's performance became an emotional anchor in the film. Born on August 20, 1936 in Pawn, Puerto Rico, Coen's career spanned decades, showcasing her remarkable talent both on stage and screen. Her personal life, however, was filled with quiet sorrow. Her first marriage to George Paul Edgar lasted from 1966 to 1976, and although it seemed to promise happiness, it ended in devastating loss when Edgar passed away after a long illness. His death plunged Coen into lonely days, battling isolation, even as her career flourished. Despite her success, including in projects like One Life to Live, each night returning home felt like a silent struggle within herself. In 1987, hoping to find peace, Coen remarried to Fred Valet. Unfortunately, this marriage did not bring the happiness she sought. Irreconcilable differences, combined with work pressures and the weight of past emotional wounds, made their relationship tense. Coen immersed herself in her art, building her reputation through roles in the House of the Spirits and on Broadway. Yet, behind the applause, there lingered a sense of loneliness that deepened when she lost a close family member to illness, a tragedy she rarely spoke of but that left a deep gap in her heart. These losses, combined with the ongoing tensions in her personal life, meant that no matter how successful she became, she could never find true peace. Coen endured periods of despair, especially as the stage lights faded, and she found herself alone in a room full of mementos from her glorious past. Despite these struggles, her legacy remained one of dedication to her craft. Miriam Coen passed away on March 3, 2017 in New York City due to complications from a lung infection. She was 80 years old. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at around $5 million, but her most valuable legacy was a life dedicated to the arts. Margolus played Alberto the Shadow, a silent, cold-blooded assassin working for Alejandro Sosa. At 44, his portrayal left a strong, menacing impression, despite the character having few lines. His deadly gaze and powerful presence in the film helped define the dark, intense atmosphere that Scarface became known for. While his role was brief, it contributed significantly to the film's impact, and Margolus became a standout figure in Hollywood with a long and varied career. Born on November 26, 1939 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Margolus faced significant struggles early in his life. He married Jacqueline Margolus in 1962, and their marriage, though strong, was not without its challenges. They lived in rundown New York apartments, barely managing rent with the small roles Margolus landed in off-Broadway productions. These early financial hardships were compounded by their son Morgan's turbulent youth, which included addiction. The strain on their family life weighed heavily on Margolus, but he remained dedicated to both his craft and his loved ones. Despite the external hardships, Margolus fought through his own personal demons, particularly feelings of being forgotten by Hollywood. He spent years battling depression, wondering if his career would ever take off as he had once hoped. His breakthrough came when he was cast as Hector Salamanca in Breaking Bad, a role that reignited his career and revived his passion for acting. The recognition he received, along with an Emmy nomination, brought him renewed fame and affection from fans. However, even with the resurgence of his career, Margolus continued to carry the scars of years of struggle. The toll of financial instability, his son's battles with addiction, and his own internal battles with depression stayed with him. Margolus's relationship with his son, though strained, was one of the central emotional anchors in his life. As his son faced addiction, Margolus struggled to reconcile the father he wanted to be with the reality of the struggles they both faced. This dynamic added complexity to his character, showing the depth of his emotional battles behind the tough exterior. Likewise, his marriage to Jacqueline, though filled with love, was marred by the stress of financial difficulty and personal challenges. The emotional scars from these years persisted, coloring his later years with a sense of longing for peace that he could never fully achieve. Margolus passed away on August 3, 2023, at the age of 83, after a brief illness at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $2.5 million, a modest sum compared to the breadth of his career. However, the true value of his legacy lies not in his financial worth, but in the many powerful roles he brought to life and the emotional complexity he infused into his characters, making them unforgettable. Al Israel played Hector the Toad, a ruthless Colombian criminal behind the infamous chainsaw scene. At 48, Israel's portrayal of Hector made a lasting impact with his cold, menacing presence, despite his relatively brief screen time. Hector's character left an indelible mark on audiences, becoming one of the most unforgettable images from the film. Though his career featured mostly minor roles, his performance in Scarface is the role most associated with him, marking a pivotal moment in his career. Born on April 16, 1935 in the United States, Israel's personal life and career were marked by constant struggle. His only marriage ended after years of tension, leaving him to shoulder the difficult responsibility of raising a child alone. The financial burdens, combined with the pressure of single fatherhood, made it challenging for him to achieve the stability he longed for, both professionally and personally. Despite his perseverance, Israel's career never provided the kind of security he hoped for, leading him to feel like his potential was left unfulfilled. One of the most difficult aspects of Israel's life was his relationship with his son. The pressures of single fatherhood were immense, and as his son grew older, the challenges became even more pronounced. Israel poured all of his energy into trying to be both a provider and a father, but the weight of raising a child alone while struggling with financial instability took a toll on him. The emotional strain led to periods of profound sadness and isolation, as his career failed to offer the relief he had hoped for. He never reached the success or recognition he dreamed of, and that burden of unfulfilled expectations stayed with him. In his later years, Israel faced serious health issues that he never openly discussed. These physical struggles slowly robbed him of his independence and joy, leaving him even more withdrawn. He became increasingly isolated from the world around him, far removed from the fleeting fame he had once experienced. The weight of these unspoken difficulties only added to his regret of not having achieved both the personal happiness and career heights he had envisioned. The sadness of his life was compounded by a deep sense of missed opportunities, and Israel spent his final years grappling with the feeling that he had not been able to find the peace or fulfillment he deserved. His career in Hollywood, while steady, had never allowed him to break free of the roles that seemed to define him, leaving him trapped in the shadow of the past. Israel passed away on March 16, 2011, at the age of 75. His death was the result of complications from various health issues that he had battled in silence. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at around $500,000, a modest sum considering the breadth of his career. Yet his most valuable legacy lies in the unforgettable roles he played, particularly Hector the Toad in Scarface, a character that continues to send chills down the spines of viewers to this day. His career may have been defined by hardship, but it is his contributions to cinema that will forever live on. Richard Belzer played the MC at Babylon Club, a small but unforgettable role that injected energy and a subtle satirical tone into the film's wild party scenes. His appearance may have been brief, but his sharp wit and charm left a lasting impression. The character brought a splash of color to the otherwise grim world of crime in the film. Outside of Scarface, Belzer achieved major success as John Munch in Law & Order, SVU, where he became known for his dry humor and unique style. Despite his fame, however, Belzer's personal life was shadowed by deep grief. Born on August 4, 1944 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Belzer's early life was marred by the tragic loss of his sister in a car accident. This grief haunted him throughout his life, creating a sorrow that never fully left him. His first marriage to Gail Susan Ross from 1966 to 1972 seemed to offer happiness, but it ended in turmoil. The arguments and wounds from their separation left Belzer with deep emotional scars that affected his trust in others and contributed to a profound sense of loneliness. During the early years of his career, despite his sharp wit and promise as a comedian, Belzer struggled with substance abuse. He turned to alcohol and other temptations as a way to cope with his inner pain. As depression crept in, it pushed him further away from the spotlight, and he retreated into private anguish. His comedy, the very thing that made people laugh, became his armor against the emotional scars that never healed. Despite his success, the weight of his past lingered. In his later years, Belzer faced serious health issues that he kept largely private. These physical struggles gradually took away his independence and joy, leading him into a quiet isolation far removed from the public attention he once had. Though his wealth and accomplishments, his net worth at the time of his death was estimated at $16 million, were impressive, his greatest legacy lies in the roles he portrayed and the lives he touched through his work. His career was a testament to his perseverance, but it was also marked by the inner battles that at times overshadowed his external success. Richard Belzer passed away on February 19, 2023 in Beausoul's, France, at the age of 78 due to complications from a respiratory condition. His life was filled with both triumph and personal tragedy, but his contribution to television and comedy will never be forgotten. From the iconic moments of Scarface to the real-life tragedies that followed, the lives of the cast leave us in awe. Which of them do you think left the most lasting legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments and be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss more unforgettable stories from the world of cinema.